Hello, welcome to some Melbourne sights. I'm on my way to Patricia Piccinini's art exhibition at Flinders Street Railway Station, an iconic building in Melbourne. Here I'm walking across the Princess Bridge, St Kilda Road, which is an extension of Swanston Street. So Flinders Street Station is here. We're just walking on the outside of the station at the moment. And that's the front of the iconic building with the clocks there on the bottom. This is crossing Flinders Street towards Swanston Street. And I will just talk a little bit about my experience at the exhibition. I really recommend you listening to Patricia's audio on Spotify. I'm not sure where else she's explained each of her sculptures and her exhibits. It's really interesting to know her intentions behind each one. Here I'm walking down Flinders Lane. And now I'm back into Flinders Street, just about to enter the station. And here we go, up about 86 steps, I'm told. I was quite tired when I got to the top of it. So the ballroom and the surrounding rooms up at the top of Flinders Street Station isn't normally a public access area. It's not really renovated either. So it was really interesting history lesson for me to go through the ballroom. I'd never been there before, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. So here is the theme mainly of Patricia's exhibits is about relationships between humans and humans and animals, nature and humans, nature and animals. And it's about mixing realism with the imaginary. Here I'm looking out the windows. I'm just as interested and curious about the building and the rooms and the views from these rooms when you look outside. So these sculptures look so lifelike. They represent, and the colours were really beautiful. Again, I'm drawn to the view outside the window into the iconic Melbourne buildings and streets. These are a young couple as an example of rescuing a injured koala that's in the basket there. It's a more beautiful colour. The people in the background are waiting to go into a film room to view a short film that Patricia had put together as well, which I don't show on this video. So back into the corridor, one side of the building you can see that's the railway station and the railway platforms with some buildings in the background. The windows were really dirty. So this is part of the corridor. So as we look at the corridor, I just want to revisit my interest in the ballroom, from a personal perspective. My parents, many years ago in the 60s, met at a dance in Melbourne, and they used to dance in the ballroom here at Flinders Street. So I was curious to have a look at it for that reason as well. That's me. Hi, everyone. So this is into another room. It's the exhibit is called The Couple. There's a couple lying in bed together, which we'll see shortly. Right there. And it was interesting looking at some of the artist is 55 years old. She's an Australian woman. And it was interesting to see some of the items around the rooms that took me back to my childhood. This was an interesting image, sound of a heartbeat. I think it has a reproductive reference. This room was fascinating. I believe that the white bird-like, I guess, sculptures are in fact ovaries, and I think fallopian tubes as well. And the idea behind some of these sculptures that look quite strange and weird is that when you first look at them, you think, that, wow, this is odd. It might make you feel uncomfortable, looking at some of the strange creatures and the interrelationships. But the longer you look at them, the more accepting you become of it, and the more, or less judgmental, I guess, you become of the interaction and the sculpture and the work. Here's the ballroom sign going down the corridor further. And I actually did find that when I first looked at something and I thought, oh, that looks a bit weird, or I haven't seen that before, or what is that? And the longer I looked at it, the more, it seemed really lifelike. You look at the eyes of this creature and just the tender, loving embrace, supporting embrace that seems really natural. This looks a little bit like, the shape of it is like a flower or like a plant, I guess. But yeah, it has this odd position of a human with... again, I'm distracted by the view outside. So now we're going into the main ballroom. And it was full of colour and fun music. I loved the architecture. Parts of the exhibit, the light, the white light that you can see represented photosynthesis generating energy. I love the use of the colour. They're mushrooms with hair inside each of the tip. Human hair by the looks of things. And this woman holding another creature. The end of the exhibition, and then when I walked back down the stairs on the level below, I could stop and have a look at what was called a sitting room, which is this room. It seemed quite calm and peaceful, and then ventured further down the steps to outside, which was dark. So here's another view of Melbourne streets and buildings at night by the Yarra River. And that's the end of the video, and I thank you very much. Leave some comments below on what you thought.